What is up, everyone? So I figured today we'd do a declutter. I'm just feeling the chill vibes. Like, I got my cozy socks on, and I'm sure y'all really needed to see my socks that close. I'm so sorry. I don't know. It's like actually feeling wintry outside already. I know. It's like insane that it's November. I know, I'm with you. I'm like, what? But then there's also a part of me that just made a playlist called Let's Move On from 2020, yeah? I've added one song to it, so I need to like actually put music on it, but it's gonna be my like November, December playlist. So I've got a lot of bronzers to go through today, and I'm pumped because I definitely feel like there are some that when I open my drawer, I see them and it just bothers me. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but they're ones that, you know, I either don't like or I feel guilty for spending the money and I didn't end up liking or whatever. If you do enjoy declutter videos, I do them all the time. Pretty much, at this point, I'm pretty much doing them once a month as I'm working through my collection. And also keep in mind, I do get a little bit of PR. Most of this is bought with my own money. So if you do like them, I have a playlist of all of my declutter videos. I've done a lot of them recently. I recently did foundations, lips, blush. What else did I do? Oh, palettes. So definitely check those out. They're all really good. Most of them are pretty cutthroat. I love decluttering, guys. It's just a feeling. So let me bring you on down. All right, so we've got my bronzers here. I think I've got everything. So I've kind of separated it into, oops, I've already screwed it up, didn't I? Into like powders and then creams over here. So I think I could probably cut this in half. We're gonna see. I don't feel like myself when I don't wear bronzer, which is really weird. That's like new to me this year, but like for whatever reason, I feel like my face looks incomplete if I'm wearing makeup that day, if I don't have bronzer on. Does that make sense? If you would have asked me that like 5 years ago, I would have been like, no, I don't even wear bronzer. So I don't know how the turntables. It's an office joke if you didn't get it. Let's start the way I always start by just kind of thinking about what do I use like all of the time? The things I know for sure would never leave my collection. This is my #1 favorite bronzer. It's what I'm wearing today. So at the beginning of the video, you saw me wearing this. It's just from L'Oreal. It's their True Match Lumi Bronze It. I've already hit pan on it, which kind of surprised me, but then again, I have used the crap out of this, so it's not that surprising. There's something about it. When I first picked it up at the store and I looked at it, I thought, well, it looks a little bit light, but sometimes I really like that because I can just kind of go to town with it and it never looks like too much on my skin because I do have a fairer skin tone. And that's exactly what this does. And it has this slightly satin quality to it where it's not glittery by any means. See, it doesn't swatch well, but I'm telling you, it looks awesome on the skin. But it has this slightly satiny quality that just looks gorgeous on the skin. It's glowy without being greasy or glittery or anything like that. So they do have a couple shades worth looking into if you're in need of a new bronzer. It's a huge pan, and I think the packaging is really pretty too. So other ones I know I'm gonna keep. This one is just too new to me, the Charlotte Tilbury one. It was sent to me in PR. I would have bought it with my own money too because you guys know, I just tend to like a lot from this brand. If you wanna see my thoughts on the best and worst of the brand, I do have a video I did very recently. I can link down below and up in the eye. This is one I'm still not sure about how I feel. It can get, if you're heavy-handed with it, it can look like too much, at least on me. So I do have the shade #2, medium. Again, the lighter shade I felt like was maybe a little too light for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one day I'll try that and see, but I do really like it. And of course, my gosh, the packaging. And this is a huge pan. Huge. So there's this Ciate one is okay, but I just don't find myself reaching for it. It's a little bit too glittery. I just swatched that right on my old one. It's a little bit orange for me and it's too glittery. This is their South Beach one. I did think the packaging was really pretty and I've had this for a while. Like I must have gotten this in PR years ago and I had it sitting in a drawer for a while. And so I don't know, it's just too orange. It's gonna go. This Fenty Beauty one, I'm gonna pass on. It's their powder one and I don't know. I have the shade Inda Sun, which probably is the most appropriate one for my skin tone. And it's already gotten a little bit of hard pan. I either can't get it to show up or when I do, it just looks a little patchy. So if I'm gonna go for a lighter bronzer, I'm gonna reach for this one, not this one. And so I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna keep the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. This is just a really pretty smooth bronzer. It's a little bit darker than the L'Oreal one, but it's very, very smooth. I feel like it looks even on the skin when I use it. It really stays in place very well throughout the day. So if that's something you struggle with, this is one that you might really like. So these Milani ones, I don't need to keep both. I have shade #1 in their Silky Matte Bronzer and shade #2. I wanna swatch, let me swatch these. I've used both of them. There's definitely a tone difference between them, 1 and 2. One seems a little bit more orangey, whereas the other one is a little bit more like closer to a true brown, like a neutral brown. I don't know though. I think I'm gonna keep one and pass on two, just knowing my preferences and my skin tone. But this is a beautiful bronzer. Again, really kind of creamy. I do think you can get heavy-handed with these, so I would recommend applying them with like a dual fiber brush. It looks really pretty. That's my favorite way to apply powder bronzer anyway. But yes, really, really enjoy these. Again, I think the packaging is really cute. I feel like Milani does a great job at their packaging, don't you guys? I'm gonna get rid of this Kosas one. I was not the biggest fan of this. It's almost too shimmery, and by almost, I mean it's too shimmery. It's almost like a highlight. Now, in all fairness, I do have the lightest shade, so I could almost pull that off as a highlighter. I think the formula is fine. It's just a little shimmerier than I typically like. I feel like if Kosas came out with that in blush formats, it would be incredible. So Kosas, if you're listening, I'd love to see blushes in that same like formula, because I think the formula itself is nice. Next is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. I've actually had this for a while now. It's really, I have the lighter shade, yeah, Fair to Light. And again, it's one that's really, really soft. You can almost barely see it when you swatch it, but when you apply it to the skin, it looks so seamless. Like this is the first bronzer that I fell in love with that was kind of lighter, and it's so easy to apply and you can never get heavy-handed with it. And I think that's why I fell in love with it, because I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not perfect at that kind of thing. So this is one I've loved and will continue to keep. I do, hint, hint, in my upcoming dupes video here this month, the L'Oreal one is awfully similar to this Bare Minerals one, just saying. Definitely subscribe, stay tuned for that video, because I am pumped about some of the dupes I found. All right, moving on to cream. We are rocking and rolling. This Chanel one, okay, so weird story about this. This is pretty new to me. I bought it with this year. And it's the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel like bronzer. Super like cult classic, very expensive. Definitely has kind of a strong smell. I don't mind it so much, but I literally will take my dual fiber brush and dip it in here and apply it to my cheeks that way, and it looks great. Here's the thing, apparently they reformulated it, and I like under the wire got one of the last batches of the old formula, because when I bought it, like it was like that week that you guys were telling me like, whoa, they just reformulated it and you got the like original version. So I'm holding on to it because I've heard that the new version isn't as good. So that's a bummer, but I'm definitely keeping this. I really, really love this. I actually had to go fish this out of my bathroom where I've been getting ready because I have been using it a lot. Another one that's very similar, another one that's really similar is this Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer. Now, here's the only difference. Let me swatch these side by side. So I promise you guys swatches, and I keep forgetting to swatch. There's the Chanel one. The Fenty one, this color I have is in shade number 2. And it definitely has more of, I think, a neutral tone to it, which I really, really like. This is the Chanel one, and it is a little bit, I hesitate to say orangey because you sheer it out and it just looks beautiful, but it definitely is more orange tinted than the Fenty one. I really like both. The Fenty cream, I feel like it took me a while to get behind, and I couldn't really figure out why. I was trying to apply it with a sponge and I just didn't like it that way. But with a dual fiber brush, I can link, I know I keep saying that, I have a couple of favorites that are pretty, I have a couple of favorite dual fiber brushes I love for bronzer. I can link them below if you don't know where to start or you're just curious about what I use, because it really changed the way I apply bronzer, and it makes it so much easier if you're like me and you're kind of sloppy and you just get ready really fast. I have like brush hairs in it, which is gross, I'm sure. With a brush, I've really started to like this because I wasn't so sure about it at the beginning. So I'm keeping both of these. I really, really am enjoying both. So one here that I'm on the fence about is from Nudestix. It's their Nudies All Over Face Color in Bondi Bay. It's creamy. I had the blush in this format and it got a little bit dry. This one's still pretty creamy actually. And it comes with like a brush on the other side you can use. I've used it a couple times. It's just a little too dense for my liking, but it does work. It does totally blend it. But I'm on the fence because I haven't been reaching for it. I have other ones I like more, and that's why I'm like, I'm not so sure, but let me put this here and think about it. One that I've loved for years, definitely gonna keep, is this Milk Makeup Baked Stick. Very, very similar, really, really creamy as well, but I love that I can draw this right onto the skin and then use that same dual fiber brush to blend it, or I can take the brush onto this and then blend it onto the skin. So there's a lot of different ways you can use this. The best part is, if you're not sure and you don't wanna drop the 30 bucks for this, you can get a smaller size and it's gonna take forever to go through. So that's the route. Like if I were ever buying this again, I think I would just buy the smaller one because it's such a better deal, because it's gonna take me forever to go through this, you know? I'm a little torn with these here. So I've got my Physicians Formula Organic Wear Sculpting Bronzer. I love this stuff. This is totally a really nice dupe for the Milk Makeup one. I'll show you them side by side. I think I've already mentioned this in a dupe video, so you won't see it in my next dupes. Very, very similar, even shade-wise, they're similar. Very easy to blend. They both stay on pretty well. I do think the Physicians Formula one is a little bit more emollient, and so it doesn't stay as long as the Milk. I feel like if you set these with powder, they're both gonna stay really well, but I do think the Milk one stays a little bit longer, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So another one here I just watched is from Wet n Wild. It's their contour makeup stick, and I have it in the shade 804A, very, very similar to those other ones. This is not as oily though, so if you have oily skin, I actually think this works better than the other two because it's not nearly as emollient. Now, I do think it still blends pretty well. So even though it's a little drier, it blends pretty well. The only thing is on my skin, for whatever reason, I feel like with these, I can blend them out. Now they've been sitting on there a while. For whatever reason though, this shade on my skin, when I'll like wear it in a video and I play, you know, I'm editing the video, it always looks very orange on my skin. And so even though the swatch of that was very similar to the other ones, there's something about this that even when I blend it in, it just looks a little more obvious. And so I think I'm gonna pass it on for that reason. I would consider buying it again in the future, maybe in a different shade, but it is a really good product if the shade works for you. One of my favorites is actually the second one of these I've owned from Charlotte Tilbury. It's their contour wand. It looks scary when you first use it. It's definitely like a neutral, like contour shade. It's not meant to be used as a bronzer, although I totally use it in the bronzer spots of the face. But when you blend it in, I love blending this with a sponge. It's so seamless on the skin, you guys. This may be one of the most seamless bronzers or contour, whatever, I own because it does just blend in so well. I don't know what the magic with this is, but it is incredible. The one thing I will say about this is you definitely want to close it when you're done using it each day because I made the mistake of not doing that with my first one and I ended up losing a lot of the product. This is one, it's pretty darn new to me. I still need to figure out. I mentioned very recently in a video where I was trying some new makeup, this Flower Heatwave stuff. I used it as a bronzer. Big no-no because it was just patchy, it blended away, like it did not work. But a lot of you guys said you can mix it with things to give it that kind of bronzy, shimmery glow. And so I haven't used it that way yet, planning to. So definitely not getting rid of this yet. Flower makes a lot of products I enjoy. So I need to just try this in different ways. Let me know your advice on this one. All right, next up is from RMS Beauty. This is their Buriti Bronze. I love this stuff. It's a cream bronzer, but it's kind of a unique color because it's like shimmery. It kind of reminds me, I haven't tried it yet, but it reminds me of what the Tower 28 bronzer is probably like because it kind of has this shimmery quality to it, but it is so pretty on the skin. It almost looks like a taupe eyeshadow, doesn't it? It might be pretty as an eyeshadow. I've never thought about that. But it's just so pretty. I will literally dip my brush right into it and paint it onto the skin and it just is gorgeous. It's one of those like almost weird products that works and you can't explain the magic, but it just works. I haven't used this in a while. I need to put it in my vanity actually, because that just got me excited about it all over again. So this is one I have not figured out how to use. So let me know. This is from that same brand, Nudestix, and it is their Tinted Blur Stick in medium 6. So it says it's a tinted sheer coverage, lightweight, all over face stick that blurs texture to have a naturally smooth, no filter skin. So I bought it to be more of like a bronzer on my skin. The thing about it is though, it definitely like blurs, like it fills in and makes your skin really smooth. It's really cool feeling. It kind of blends away, but it can kind of give that natural bronze, right? Again, this is meant for like all over your skin. So I just got a shade that would work as a bronzer for me. I've tried it with a sponge and it really just doesn't work that well for me that way. And with the brush, it's okay. So I just need to try this some more. I feel like I've only tried it a few times because honestly, I just forgot it was in my collection. So I'm gonna give this a try. So this is what we're getting rid of. It's not nearly as much as I usually get rid of, but honestly, these are ones I know, like when I look in my collection, these are the ones that kind of almost bother me because I know I either don't like them or I just don't use them. Can you hear my 2-year-old being silly down there? So this is what I'm keeping. Obviously, it's still plenty, but these all make me excited. Like I've got my powder bronzers here, 5 of them, and I love all of them, or at least they're ones like this one I'm still trying out. And then my creams, and quite frankly, I use cream bronzers so much, so it kind of makes sense that I have more cream bronzers, and keeping in mind that these are 2 that I'm still kind of in testing mode. So I'm really kind of keeping 5 that I know, 6 that I know that I love. So I don't think that's too bad. These all excite me, and that is the feeling I want to have when I look at my makeup collection. So I hope that you enjoyed. Like I said, if you would like to see more declutters on my channel, let me know what categories you'd like to see next. I had pulled my highlighters out to do today, but honestly, filming this took a little longer than I thought, so I'm gonna do the highlighters in a separate video, probably next month, so stay tuned for that. And as I mentioned earlier, if you feel like binging some declutter videos, I'll link my most recent ones up in the eye and down below if you wanna watch those now. I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. I've got that dupes video coming up this month that I am so excited about. I've got more declutters coming your way as well. And of course, we also do vlogs. We've got Vlogmas coming up next month. That is exciting. We're gonna be vlogging every single day here on my channel and then also on my husband's channel, Tyler Travels TV. So subscribe, stick around for that if you just want some holiday fun in your subscription box every day in December. And other than that, I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.